to be at school today, but I am going to teach you guys something about the trig ratios. And just a brief review of what you guys went over yesterday. You guys actually talked about labeling the sides of right triangles in relationship to the reference angle, and the reference angle is very important. But what I want to do with you guys today, I want to teach you guys about the basics of trigonometry, talking about sine, cosine, and tangent. And those are three basic trig functions. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we're going to talk about the three basic trig ratios. All right. Our first trig ratio that we're going to talk about is sine, S-I-N-E, but the abbreviation is S-I-N. And anytime that you hear sine, they're talking about the opposite side of a triangle over the hypotenuse. The opposite side over the hypotenuse. All right. Then next, we have cosine, and cosine talks about the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. And then the third one is tangent, and tangent represents the opposite side over the adjacent side. All right. So they have an acronym to help us remember, and it's called SOHCAHTOA. And we're going to talk about the acronym SOHCAHTOA. I have a little video, a song that's going to help you with that. So, um, so next, I want to show you something. How do we work with sine, cosine, and tangent? Okay. So I have three triangles on here. Um, and the first one, we're going to talk about finding the sine of A. All right. So this problem is already worked out for you. When you find the sine of A, remember, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. Sine is the opposite over hypotenuse. So I circled A because A was my reference angle. I labeled my sides. The hypotenuse is the side opposite the right angle. The opposite is the side that does not touch the reference angle. And the adjacent side is the side um, that meets up with the hypotenuse to form the angle. Okay. Now, all I got to do is look. I say, okay, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So I know the sine of A is 4 over 5. And we're done. Okay. So then we're going to take a look at our next problem. And they want us to find the cosine of A. Well, we know that the cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay. Cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the adjacent over hypotenuse, we're going to figure that out after we label our sides. Everything is dealing with labeling sides in right triangle trigonometry. All right. So we're going to circle our reference angle. Well, my reference angle is listed right after the word cosine, or the abbreviation for cosine. So then I label my sides in relationship to A. So I label the hypotenuse, I label the opposite, and I label the adjacent. Well, in this problem, I only need the adjacent and the hypotenuse. With the adjacent is 5, the hypotenuse is 13. Okay. So then we talk in the last one, we're going to talk about, oh, excuse me, let me finish up on this one. The cosine of A is going to equal 5 over 13. Okay. And last but not least, we have tangent. And the tangent is the opposite over adjacent. Now, I know you guys are going to say, well, how do I remember all these trig ratios? You don't have to remember them. They're going to be on formula sheets. They're going to be written down. And there's a song that can help you remember it. And you have the acronym SOHCAHTOA. So when we talk about this, we're going to say the tangent of X equals the opposite over adjacent. I circle my reference angle, which is A. It should be the tangent of A. I label my sides, which is the hypotenuse, the opposite, and the adjacent. Okay? Well, I know that my opposite side equals 24, and the adjacent side equals 7. So my answer for this one would be 24 over 7. Now, we're going to pause my video, and Coach Williams is going to play for you the SOHCAHTOA video on YouTube. All right. Next, you will have an assignment on Delta Math, dealing with trig ratios, and it's timed, but it's not that bad. So they're going to give you some problems, and you have to figure out the right answer. I gave you 500 seconds. So 500 seconds, that's approximately about 8 minutes that you have to do these 10 problems. So I look here, I have the cosine of A, and I could label my sides or highlight my sides so I know A is my reference angle in this problem. I label my sides in reference to A. So this is opposite. The 15 is the hypotenuse, because we know the hypotenuse is along the side in a right triangle. And 9 is the adjacent to A. All right. Well, cosine, we know, is adjacent over hypotenuse based off of my notes. So I know when I do this problem, adjacent over hypotenuse, the adjacent side is 9, the hypotenuse is 15. So my answer for this would be 9 over 15. And it might give you the simplified version. You might have to use Desmos to reduce 9. 9 over 15 is the same thing as 3 over 5. Okay? So that's how we would do those type of problems. I get here, I would I'll put 9 over 15, and then that'll work. So then and I'll change the time to probably like 2,000 seconds or something like that. So you'll have enough time to get everything right. All right. But if you get something wrong, that means you got to start over. So that means you got to make sure that you do everything right. This one is the cosine of A. So this would be the adjacent over the hypotenuse, 16 over 20. Everything is dealing with A. So there we go. Let's talk about the sine of B on this problem. So on B, you would highlight your angle or circle your angle, and then I'll label my sides. I know 51 is the hypotenuse, 24 is the opposite of B, and 45 is the adjacent. So they want sine. Well, I know sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse is 24 over 51. Okay? 24 over 51. Got it done. And then we're almost done. So this is all I have for you for the first part of our lesson today, which is trig ratios. I want you guys to go ahead and go to your Delta Math and complete the Delta Math assignment called Trig Ratios 1. If you have any questions, Coach Williams should be able to help you. If not, hit me up on It's Learning, and I'll try to get back with you by today. Thank you, and I'll talk to you guys later.